of Suplexes and Microphones. I'm Nate Pritchard. Over here is Joe Brown. Now our guest today, I'm really looking forward to getting to know him a little better. I have the privilege of seeing him wrestle a few times, and I've always been really impressed with how he incorporates gymnastics into his moveset. It makes for a very entertaining show. So our guest today, Mr. 500, Timmy Lou Retton.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, Tim. One of the first things I want to start with is where you began with the incorporating the gymnastics, the name. Let's kind of talk about that, the origin of not only your style but the name and everything that goes with it. When your face anyway, you're wearing the red, white, and blue. So explain that a little bit to the people that are listening.
Well, when I first started wrestling, I was a gymnast instructor. I've been doing gymnastics since I was 8 years old. I was trained by Seymour Snott down in Raleigh, North Carolina. He had knew some of my gymnastics background. It was funny because when I was just doing backflips on top rope, just to get a feel for it, he had coined the phrase, "Is it easy there, Timmy Lou Retton?" And like the guys that were in there training, everyone just stopped and it was like, "Yes, that's your name." And I was like, "Ah, man." And I didn't really, at first, I didn't want to be Timmy Lou Retton. Well, not the name anyway, but then like after I researched the name, I researched all the things that came with it, I was like, I can make this work.
Okay.
But doing gymnastics, seeing how wrestling has evolved the way it's evolving, I was like, I can definitely do this with my gymnastics and with my wrestling. So
you definitely have a distinct style, and you do things that incorporate gymnastic moves and wrestling moves together that I've never seen. And I know Nate and I talk about, whoa, where's that coming from? You know, every time we see you, sometimes there's something different that you bring to it. And that brings us to the next thing I want to talk about. You've gotten a lot of attention, probably because of your ability, your style, your talent, and you were named Mr. 500 by Pro Wrestling Illustrated, which is a magazine I know Nate and I have followed for years. When we were kids, we're a little bit older than you. I don't know if you know that. But when we were kids, I still have a picture of me in the front yard holding up Pro Wrestling Illustrated with Ric Flair on the cover, which is, I think we're on the same page. That's our all-time thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So tell us about being named Mr. 500, and you've actually worked that into some things as well. So tell us about that.
well, at first I didn't even know I was even put in the magazine. One of my good friends, Elliot Russell from the Heat Seekers, had messaged me and said congratulations. I was like, thanks for what? Then he sent me the information, and like I was just floored because just as you guys, like I grew up looking at reading the PWI, and I followed the PW 500 for as long as I can remember. And when I saw my name in it, not just in it as the prestigious 500, because like, let's be honest, you either remember 1 or 500.
Right.
Everybody else is just there.
Right.
So being 500 was very prestigious to me, because if you looked at the guys that were in 500, they're going to do great things like Space Monkey, Grado, Dolph Ziggler. He was on the 500s. So being in that list of people was very honoring.
Absolutely. And just so you guys know they're watching, we had to come outside, inside the arena. He's about to have a match for PWX. Inside the arena is way too loud. We come outside. You're still going to hear some background noise. We apologize for that. Next thing I want to talk about, Gouge Champ. That is actually something that you handed that Gouge title to my son at a PCW show. He was an instant fan after that, obviously. Tell us how long you've been Gouge Champ, and a little bit about that organization, because you're basically their flagship person right now.
Well, Gouge is where I first started wrestling. I would go there, I would help set up the ring, take down the ring. I train before shows, after shows. Gouge stands for Gimmick Only Underground Grappling Entertainment.
Okay.
It's a big family show, very gimmick oriented. We have Seymour Snott, Geek with Physique, Jimmy Jack Funk Jr., the Karate Cowboy, myself, Timmy Lou Retton, gymnast. I've won the Gouge Heavyweight title back in July 2014. So close to, 2015. So going on close to 3 years. I've been able to defend it against some of the best wrestlers, Ricky Reyes, Meyer. I've defended it in 13 states. I've just been fortunate enough to be a flagship. Being that I've only been wrestling for 3 years, it's really hard for a company to trust you with their top title, let alone to hold it for 3 years.
Yeah.
So any chance I get to show people what I'm doing, I'm greatly happy.
So we're talking about that title. I see you riding with the Ugly Ducklings. Several trips, road trips, hitting various shows. They've got a lot of titles. And I see you guys always using the hashtag all the grilled cheeses. I always thought, just without asking any of you this, I thought all the grilled cheeses was a metaphor for titles. Am I wrong? Or are you guys just eating grilled cheeses all the time?
All the grilled cheeses is something that we coined in the car. It's me, Rob Killjoy, Lance Lou, White Mike. People think all grilled cheeses is all the championships we collected, but it's completely different.
No.
So you have to be in the car to know.
Okay, fair enough. Trade secret there. I assumed it was the titles, because often you guys will pick up a title and then the hashtag will be there. You know, root beers. I've given you a few in the past.
Yes.
We've stopped at 7-Eleven to get you one today. They had nothing but A&W.
That's
We were disappointed.
Disappointment.
But with that said, tell me about the fascination with the root beers.
My grandfather started me with root beers because he used to collect root beer bottles. And if you look at his collection, it's ridiculous because he has, I think, over like 300 collections worth of bottles. And me drinking them with him was just like a little small thing. I do like to pay tribute to him. So I started to do it this year. I go to different towns, different states, and collect like something that's their rendition of a root beer, and I collect it for something like me, just as a hobby, because wrestling can be very daunting if you don't go on the outside of it. It can be very stressful. So it's just almost like collecting stamps, like somebody else would, hobby to get throughout the day or their time. So that and root beer is just delicious.
So you do actually drink them. You're not just saving.
Yes.
Okay. Good deal. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about is something that's a little bit more recent development in your career. It's the Gymnasty Boys.
Yes.
You and White Mike.
Yes.
I haven't seen you guys live yet. I will soon. But how did that start, and where did that idea come from? Just explain that a little bit, because White Mike's a different character.
Yes. Very much
You and I
so.
have talked a little bit, and you said, I'm a little random, right? So you're a little bit of a different guy. So I'm sure y'all are incorporating some of your own personality traits in that, but I want to know how you originally got hooked up with that, with White Mike, and with the idea for the Gymnastic Boys.
Well, I met White Mike back in 2016 at a small indie show, and when I first met him, he was very different in a sense of his wrestling style, his uniqueness to grab people's attention, and I loved it. And I'd say 4 or 5 months ago, I got in the car with Rob and Lance, and he was in the car as well, and we've talked and became friends. And I already had a gymnasty incorporated, what I wanted to do later, something different for a singles run. But I always looked at the Gymnasty Boys, well, the Nasty Boys, sorry. And I was like, that could definitely be a tag team. And with me and Mike getting closer, I was like, we can definitely be the Gymnasty Boys. With him being just completely nasty, me having a gymnastic background, you can put one, make it two. And we've just been killing it ever since.
Yeah. I know you guys are so open wherever you go. How do you, when you come up with the idea, let's tag, here's the idea, we're Gymnasty, how do you sell that to a promoter the very first time? Like, who the heck is Gymnasty Boys? How do you do that?
Actually, by pure luck, we were just putting videos and pictures of us just riding on shows, just posting things, saying, hey, we're here, we're doing this, we're riding with the Ducks. And with the Ducks having a great reputation,
right.
Promoters like, well, if they ride with the Ducks, they must be good.
Okay.
And it's funny, I say the first 3 or 4 matches, people assume that we've been tagging for years because like the chemistry was there.
Good.
And one of my pet peeves in wrestling, like when two wrestlers come together and there's like nothing there, like they don't even dress the same, like they don't have any moves to where people are like, oh, they're very cohesive and they're just put together. And I never wanted to be in a tag team like that. I wanted to make sure if I did a tag team, it'd be done right.
Right.
So with us getting matching gear before we even started wrestling, I wanted to make sure people didn't just write us off as some two-man team that can be one-hit wonders anywhere.
Right, and I've watched some of the matches on YouTube, and I definitely agree. You guys have a good chemistry together.
Thank you.
And especially when you take on someone like the Ducks, then all four of you guys, you know each other well enough that it's just really, it's so entertaining on all sides. It doesn't matter if you're pulling from one or the other. It's really good. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Nate,
All right.
and he's got a special question for you.
All right. So one of the features that we're going to have on Suplexes and Microphones is where we ask the previous person that we interviewed, ask them a question to pass on to the next person that we interview. We're about to do that now. It's called Over the Top Rope. And our last interviewee was Mikey Galino, Coach Mikey. And his question for you is, tell us about your experience at WrestleMania.
Oh, WrestleMania. That was a very fun show. It was nowhere near Orlando, where all the more known promotions were. It was very, I'd say very backwoodish. Like when we went on this dirt road, it was like a good 20-mile drive.
Wow.
And the deeper you get in, the more you're like, all right.
What am I getting into?
Yes. When we get there, there's tractors, there's a band playing, there's a boxing ring, and wrestlers know boxing ring, wrestling are two different things. There were fans there. There was a woman pulling a tractor with her back. She had hooks in her skin and pulling. So I'm just sitting there, just like, this is going to be interesting. It was a 6-man. It was the Rat Pack. It's a 3-man group with me, White Mike, and a wrestler, Malachi Matthews, with the Ugly Ducklings, and Coach Mikey. With Coach Mikey being in the match, it added a very good dynamic because you wouldn't expect him, because he's big, but he's like a teddy bear if you actually know him. To see him like actually wrestle and fight, it's like, okay, I will never make fun of you. But it was magical. It was like one of those things where everything's on cylinder. It wasn't a job. It was just fun. And it's probably in my top 5 matches I've had so far. And considering the matches I've had thus far, it's very important because it wasn't just like a name or a building. It was like friends, like friends having fun. And after the match, we jumped in one of the guys' pool, half naked, because he had dirt all over us. He wrestled all over the place. And if you look at one of the pictures we had, it looked like almost like a grindhouse. Like we're all dirty, have dirt on us. So we asked one of the owners, hey, can we jump in the pool? He said, yeah, man, let's do it. So we took most of our clothes off, just jumped in the pool, and it was just a party after that. So WrestleMania is one of my top moments.
Nice. The other feature we have is called 10 Count, where we basically take a pool of questions and we pull 10 questions out of it each time for the person we're interviewing. So 10 Count. Question number 1. What is one thing you would like to see change in the wrestling business?
Just more people working together. Because yes, it's a business, but at the same time, there's no need to be cutthroat about it. Like wrestling's changed so differently from where it began, where people stab each other in the back, lying, and all that such. I would really love places that you wouldn't really see work together. That's why I'm glad Evolve is doing stuff with PWX and AWE, because that put more eyes on us in North Carolina, more eyes in Atlanta. And I would love for other places in North Carolina to work together. I won't really say names because I don't want to be coincide with anything, but at the same time, like business, like wrestling, the wrestling business can be so much greater if we all just work together. that's one of the things I like to see.
So, question number 2. A dream match, dead or alive, someone you have not wrestled yet. Who would that be against?
Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, I'd pay to see that. For sure.
Definitely.
Like, I can remember the day where I was when I got that news, and it was like someone in my family had passed away. Because I got my report card that day, and it was fairly decent compared to what it was.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to go to my mom, and she came in and told me, and I just dropped. I just sat in my room all day just crying because I loved Eddie. So if I had to choose, it'd be him without a question.
That'd be awesome.
Now, about a year plus ago, you had a different interview. You said you called Scorpio.
Yes.
But you actually had that match.
Yes.
I watched that match on YouTube, and it was phenomenal. I think from the outside and the conversations we've had before, I think watching that match, you got out of that match what you needed to get out of that match. Do you agree?
Yes,
Okay.
very much so. Going in, I wasn't as nervous until like the match had started, because weeks. Oh, are you nervous? No, I'm not nervous. Nervous? No, I'm not nervous. I say like 10 minutes before the match started, I was nervous. Even in the match, 7 minutes in, I was okay, still nervous until he punched me in the face. And then I was like, all right, let's do it.
That's all?
Because with him having a great influence in Japan, we've had talk, because I got to induct him into a Hall of Fame at a promotion that year. And I told him like my aspirations to wrestle in Japan. And me knowing that he trained a lot of wrestlers in Japan, he's like, all right, we're going to wrestle like we're in Japan. So if you watch the match, it's all the punches he gave me, all the kicks, he pulled nothing. And for him to be, I said, what, 52?
Yeah.
Like, he can still go.
He sure can.
And he can still hurt you. Believe me, I was sore for a good 2 weeks after that match, but I needed that match to let me know I'm able to hang with anybody else in wrestling.
I didn't mean to jump in, but
That's fine. That's good.
I just watched that match the other day, and I wanted to mention that.
So number 3, what was one thing you would like to improve on this year?
Improve on just working more up north, because up north is very hard to crack, because they have their set talent, and they have like local guys, and they have like names they pull in there. And for me to still be relatively new, I have eyes on me down here, but to have people up there vouch for me, and because promoters, they're more so like, if I can't see you, I can't really judge you off of what people say, because anybody can say anything. But I'd say up north, just improving on just being better than I was, like being better than I was the day before, or the week before, or the match before. Because I'm really my toughest critic, like we all are in aspects. So just being better than your last match.
Number 4, how long did you train before your first match?
I trained 6 months. Thankfully, because I have amateur wrestling background, and I'm a visual learner, so anything I can see, I see a couple times, and I can just pick up on it. So it didn't really take me long. I had like 4 or 5 guys in front of me that was training like a year, 2 years, but thankfully I was able to pick up faster than them and proceed with wrestling.
And number 5, who are some of your biggest influences in professional wrestling?
As we spoke previously, Tuco Scorpio, William Regal, Eddie Guerrero, Juventud Guerrero, Mikey Whipwreck, Nick Bockwinkel. Just guys that tell stories with their bodies, have a great mind for it, very athletic. Guys you wouldn't necessarily think that could go, as in Mikey Whipwreck, but was awesome. Just little people that can pick small things and make them bigger than life. That really grabbed me.
All right, Joe, you got the next 5?
So you've been a face, you've come out to the All-American type music. I've seen you in that role, and then more recently here at PWX, you're with the Syndicate, right?
Yes.
And then also NWA Smoky Mountain, you just joined, what is it, the agency?
Yes.
Okay, so you got heel and face going on, different organizations and things. I already know the answer that you prefer to play heel.
Yes.
Why?
I love the aspect of being a heel because I was always trained to make the face bigger than what they are. And if you're able to do that, that means you're able to work in any environment to make yourself look better. So I love that, and I just love people hating me. Because I think I'm a relatively nice guy, but to pull that reaction out of people is amazing, and I feed off of it. So I love the aspect of being a heel.
Okay. Well, two things I want to mention, and then you were there for this. You came out as a heel. Was that viral?
It was viral in Thompson, Georgia. Yeah.
And my son, who you're one of his absolute favorites. My son didn't understand why people were booing you, and he was actually getting upset. He was still cheering you and getting mad at the crowd around because he was going to cheer Timmy Lou no matter what. And I said, son, you tell him. Yeah. I said, son, it's all right. You can still cheer him. And
cheer if you want to.
He was the only one besides me cheering for Timmy Lou that night. But you did play a great heel, and I don't want to take away, because my son loves you as a face, the fact that you can play heel, because you can. But probably my favorite match that I've seen from you was on YouTube. It was at Big Time Wrestling in September of 2015. Rob Killjoy. Yes. You already know how I feel about Killjoy, I think.
Yes.
And Killjoy was the heel in that one. And the entertainment factor in that match is just unbelievable from both of you guys.
Thank you.
Y'all played off each other so well. I mean, there were little things. You gave him a chop, and he's walking straight towards the camera like it's as if his chest is so hot. And it was funny. But both of you guys were hitting big moves. The crowd was really, really, really into it. The minute you came out, the crowd was cheering. That's my favorite Timmy Lou match for now. Maybe today, might be see something different. I don't know. But I just want to mention that because I've watched that match, I think 3 times on YouTube. So
thank you.
I do enjoy you as a face and a heel. You can definitely do both.
Thank you very much.
I asked you the other day something about music, and I know in a previous podcast you said you actually like country music, but you told me you're not really any music. So I need to know, what's your playlist? You're on the road a lot. I know you got to listen to a lot of tunes.
Actually, I've turned my views more towards trap music because it's very loud and it's very energetic, and being on the road as long as I am, I need something to keep me awake. I need something to keep me not, this is very relaxing, I'm going to sleep now.
Right.
So trap music, like very loud rock music, Def Clock. Yeah.
Trap music.
Trap music and Def Clock.
Okay. All right. So let me ask, we're talking about road trips. What's the furthest you've gone to participate in a match? And I've already heard the story, and you may have to repeat it, about Elizabeth City or Elizabeth Town. I saw that on another one, but that is a good story. But first of all, the legitimate furthest you've driven or ridden, I mean, obviously you're in the car, it's still a grind.
The Elizabeth City one, that's when I was first getting on the road. I was in a car with one of my other trainers, ATL, Joseph Agal, and Robin Golfin Jr. Being the young boy, I was driving. I did all the drive. They put in the GPS Elizabeth Town, but the city was Elizabeth City, and we drove 3 hours the wrong way. And the more we got deeper into it, ATL was telling me something doesn't feel right because we've been here before. I don't feel like this is the right address. And when we finally got there, it was an abandoned church. So we put in the address, and like I already knew because we had like 3 hours, and we had to add more into it. So when it finally got to the estimated time, it was 8 hours. And luckily we had enough time to where when we got there, me and ATL was the first match, so we was changing while we was just driving. We got in there, had an okay match, that being my third match. but I always one of those stories that I think that's my first road story. The longest I've drove, it was me and Ronnie. We drove to Mississippi, to Atlanta, to Massachusetts, and back down to Raleigh in a weekend's time.
How many shows was that?
That was 5. But after every match, we couldn't just take off our clothes on unwind. We had to go, because we had the next town to go to. So that was actually one of my longest trips I've been on.
Okay. Question number 9 for the 10 count. Pick a superpower that you could have any period of time.
A superpower, I would say teleportation.
Okay.
I'd have so many bookings if I had teleportation.
There you go.
Be a quick trip, man.
Yep. I always thought it was funny, like people, my mind's always on wrestling, so when people ask me stuff like weird questions like that, it just goes back to wrestling. What do you want, like the lottery? I have so much wrestling gear. I have like 17 rings. So yeah, if I had a superpower, it'd be teleportation. Just to go wrestle.
For more bookings, I like it. All right, question 10 on the 10 count. This was one, I actually stole this off of the Ed Lover Morning Show. Have you ever listened to Ed Lover in the mornings? They do a feature where they call it Lose One. So essentially, I would have to find something that I think you like, and I would name two somethings. I would name one that you have to lose. When you lose it, everyone loses it, and everything associated with it. Okay? So if I were to name an actor, every movie he's ever been in is done. You're not going to ever see those movies. But for you, you said, yeah, the sports I follow are gymnastics and wrestling, and I couldn't quite nail you down on the music thing. So you lose one, HBK or Undertaker. Now again, if you lose HBK, there is no DX. You got Triple H still wearing the crown and doing the curtsy. If you lose the Undertaker, there is no Kane. Okay, there could be Glenn Jacobs doing something else, but there is no Kane. So, based on keeping all that in mind, who would you choose to lose?
If I had to choose, I'd say HBK.
You drop HBK?
Yep.
Is there a particular reason?
No particular reason. Just I would like to see Triple H still wearing the crown.
Okay. So you like that aspect of Triple H, the old Triple H, if you will.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Just to see how he would survive just without that, necessarily the DX, because I'm pretty sure he would still be doing what he is now in NXT. But I would love to see that journey.
I agree. Okay. I wouldn't agree with HBK. I agree with what you're saying about Triple H, but I'm not an Undertaker fan, so for me, it'd be Undertaker would be gone.
Understandable.
But we had the streak still, so the streak would still be there.
Right. You know, again, anything associated with that person would be gone. But that's 10 on the 10 count. So it's your turn. It's time to plug whatever you want to plug, Facebook or upcoming bookings. We're going to have this uploaded in about a week,
Hopefully, yeah.
probably. So anything you got coming up or any way that you want to be contacted for bookers, you go right ahead.
Well, I have a Twitter account. I'm at Timmy Lou Retton. I have a Facebook fan page, Timmy Lou Retton, and I have an Instagram, you guessed it, Timmy Lou Retton. Promoters, if you want to contact me, all lowercase fcgm.1988@gmail.com. Next week, I'll be debuting for Wrestling Revolver in Iowa. Yeah, I have all my information on my Instagram, my Facebook pages, and my Twitter, so please give me a follow. Let me know what you think. Please let promoters know if you'd like to see me in your town, your state, your favorite promotion. As we all know, I love to travel. I will travel. And wrestling has been really great to me, so I just want to give it back to other people in any way possible.
And guys, anybody that's listening, I truly believe that. This guy loves the pro wrestling business, and he will bring something different and special to your show if you book him. Nate, you want to close us out?
We're good. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye, Mom.
Bye.